Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mountainside Podcast. Our guest for this episode is Dustin Jacoby. He's a UFC fighter, Colorado native, avid outdoorsman, and just an awesome guy. I really enjoyed getting to know Dustin today, and he was gracious enough to take a little bit of time out of his training schedule and come in and sit down and record with us. I can't wait for all of you to listen. What's up, Dustin Jacoby? Thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate you making the trip up here and taking a little bit of time out of your busy training schedule, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, thanks for having me. I get most of my training knocked out in the mornings and afternoons, recovery, physical therapy, things like that. But, today I had this afternoon off, so I'm happy to be in here and shooting the breeze with you.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I've been watching you for a long time, man, a super long time. I watched you in the glory days and some of that. And I promise you people, if you're listening to this and you don't know who Dustin Jacoby is, you're going to find out real soon. And, just go to YouTube. And I think we were watching a highlight reel before we got here. And there's, I think it's Dustin Jacoby's highlight HD or something. And it is just, I promise you people, if you watch this fighter, it is nothing but fireworks when he steps into a cage or ring, and I'm super stoked to have you here, man.
Oh, I'm excited, dude. It's cool watching these old highlights. It's molded me into the fighter that I am now, and it's been what I told the team here recently. You have to go through it to get to it. It's been a long journey. Where I stand in the UFC and what I did in my last couple of fights is just showing people that, I've been through it. I'm here to stay. I'm here to make a legit run towards the top of the division. I'm excited. I've faced some of the best strikers in the world from the stand-up aspect, and I feel like MMA now, it's only made my game that much stronger. Now I just react when I'm in there. I'm not thinking, and it's just another fight when I step in, man. I'm excited to go perform. I'm excited to go, put all that hard work that we do in the dark and let it shine under those bright lights.
It shows too, man. This is a heck of a reel. It had me all pumped up today just watching it because I was kind of like going through YouTube, doing a little bit of homework on you, and this popped up, and I was like, okay, I'm excited, man. Like, I'm jacked up about this. So thank you again for coming in, man. I'm super stoked to have you here. I don't know a whole lot about your past. I know that you were born in Colorado and lived here for part of your childhood. And, I don't know a whole lot about your fighting background, too. Can we kind of start with that? I know that you were in the UFC and then, I don't know, an injury happened or something. If you can kind of dive into that.
We have time, so I might as well start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I grew up in Fort Morgan, Colorado. I had a twin brother. Him and I are still, best friends to this day. He got into fighting before I did. We grew up wrestling. We did taekwondo. And then when we moved to Illinois, just before junior high, we tried continuing the wrestling, but we didn't have there wasn't anywhere convenient for us to go that made sense. But we started playing basketball. Fast forward, played 4 years of college football. And my sophomore year, my brother gives me a call, and he's like, hey, man, I'm getting in a fight on Saturday. And I'm like, what? You're getting in a fight? This is good. I thought fights just happen. He's like, no, it's MMA. You should Google it. I got it on my computer. He's like, I'm walking in. I'm putting gloves on. I'm going into this cage. I'm signing up. I'm weighing in, and I'm fighting this guy. And I had no idea. I'd never seen it. I'm like, dude, that is crazy. So of course, I couldn't wait. He went in there, and he ended up getting beat. He ended up getting choked out that night, but he was hooked. And he's like, the dude was pretty tough. My brother's a fighter, man. He's a fighter to the core. And ended up having a long career, but then he signed me up one event that he was on, and he called me up, and of course I was talking some shit. I was like, yeah, dude, I knock him out, whatever.
So you didn't even know fighting was a thing, like preteen?
Had no idea, man. When all through high school, I was a football, baseball, basketball guy, excelled at all three, but I'd never seen a fight. I knew boxing, so my senior year of high school, we got into boxing. And it seemed like everybody I put the gloves on with, except my brother, I knocked out. And one other kid, Zach Samples, man. He's the only other kid that I ever boxed that I never knocked out. But, yeah, my brother got into it. So then I followed suit. I redshirted my freshman year of college. So I could have played one more year.
You played quarterback position, right?
Quarterback.
Like all through college,
Yeah,
right?
all through college.
Yeah.
I redshirted my freshman year. Then I started my redshirt every year on in college.
And what university was that?
Well, I went to an NAIA school first at Culver Stockton. My senior year of high school, I tore my knee. In the second round of the playoffs, we were the number 1 ranked team in the state in our division.
So did you run into the Diaz brothers up there at all? Or
up where?
In Stockton. Is that in Stockton, California?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Different Stockton.
I was like,
homie.
yeah, different Stockton, homie. Way different Stockton.
Okay.
This is Canton, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
So this
Yeah.
is this is way different Stockton. Yeah, NAIA school, and then I transferred to Quincy University, and then shortly after, I made a move full time. I was living in the dorm room at the Hit Squad, Matt Hughes' gym in Granite City, Illinois.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, living there during the week, driving back to stay with Kayla, my wife now, on the weekends. I'd bartend, I'd bounce at a bar, just make a few $100s to get me through the week to go back and forth.
It's coming back to me. I got short-term memory sometimes, maybe from extracurricular activities, but I did a podcast with Jordan Kurtz maybe last month. It was 4 or 5 episodes ago or something like that. And we talked about you and you training under Matt Hughes or with Matt Hughes at that gym.
Yeah,
so it's coming back to me a little bit.
Yeah, so and I turned pro in November of 2010. By October of 2011, I was in the UFC. I had 6 fights. It happened super fast, but it was because I was Matt Hughes' gym. I had Mark Fiore, who was a great coach, great trainer, and at the time had a lot of pull with the UFC through Matt Hughes and other guys we had there, Robbie Lawler, Brian Foster, Matt Veach, some other guys back then that were dominating the UFC. Well, as soon as I got there to the UFC, the Hit Squad had went through different ownership and different people bought it, and it tried working out, but I followed Mark Fiore to Springfield, Illinois. And so everything that I was doing that got me to the UFC wasn't there anymore. I had 2 fights. I had 2 losses. I was cut, and then the journey really began.
Yeah, that's crazy. And for people that are just tuning into this or just listening, you just re-signed, and congratulations on another contract with the UFC, right?
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was always the goal, to get back. It took 9 years, but I got back.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I think a lot of people would just give up at that point, and that's one thing that intrigued me about you and just knowing some of the guys that you train with and that sort of thing. And God, the wherewithal and the drive that must take I'm in between that time. Also, you fought in Glory, and that's where I really watched you and was tuned into you, man. And it was always an exciting fight, man. There was going to be fireworks. Like I said, there was always KOs involved normally.
Yeah, well, when you ask me how I'm going to win a fight, it's by knockout. I'll tell you by knockout. That's what I tried doing. And Glory really reamped my career. I wouldn't say saved my career, but gave me new spark, gave me new life. And I am forever thankful to Glory and the sacrifices and the adversity I had to face and the opportunities and challenges they gave me. So, that's why I stand where I am today. But like you were saying earlier, man, I could have a lot of people would have quit. They could have easily just turned the page and started something new. And recently, Coach just asked me to speak to the team about perseverance and tell them my story a little bit and, all the adversity that I ran into. And then I just kept climbing. I just kept going. I knew in my mind, I knew I was good enough to get back to the UFC. And, I just had to take my time and go through that journey. Like I said, I had to go through it to get to it. And if you would have told me, after the UFC, if you would have said, hey, you will not have another fight in the UFC for 9 more years. If you would have told me that then, I probably would have quit doing what I was doing. Like, are you kidding me? Another 9 years? Screw that, man. I'll go find something else to do. But what I forgot to mention to the team, man, when I was speaking to them about perseverance, is the joy is in the climb itself. What I've learned is like the journey that I've been through and the incredible experiences that I've had and the people that I've met along the way and the countries and the things that I've seen that I never would have been able to experience if it wasn't for this career and this journey that I continued, climbing. So very thankful for my struggles, man. I say it often. My struggle is my strength. I've learned that, and I'm thankful for where I'm at.
That's great, man. I mean, excuse me. That's great, man. I mean, that's an incredible story. I mean, to take that 9-year break, and then be at where you're at right now and what you're set up for potentially in the future, right? And I love that mindset about Factory X, and especially Coach Mark Montoya is I just love his mindset when it comes to focus on the journey, not so much on the prize, right? Or that sort of mindset is just incredible.
Yeah, really, man. That is something that he preached to me, to the team. That when you really, really let it sink in and think about it, it's like you're right. Like everything I just said, if you think for 1 second you can quit climbing, you've got it all wrong, because the joy is just being able to climb and just being able to struggle and overcome. Like you feel like such a badass when you're standing and your opposition is down.
Right.
So no matter what you're doing in life, whether you're fighting, whether you're a doctor, a nurse, whatever the case may be, man, that's life. You just got to keep on going.
Yeah, 100%. What are some of the adversities that you did face in that 9-year break? I mean, obviously you kind of moved around, right? You moved around to some different gyms. Was there any injuries in there? I mean, the sport that you're in is high intensity. I mean, you're going to get injured at some point.
So many adversities I've probably forgot more than I remember, to be honest with you, man. But injuries for sure, training camps, trying to find the right culture. The culture is a big thing that our Mark Montoya preaches to us and that we share and have at Factory X. Surrounding yourself with the right people. And not settling. I was bounced around from gym to gym. And I tell you what, I had a great opportunity in Breda, Holland with Nikki Himmers and Core Himmers over there. And absolutely loved it, especially for kickboxing. And I really wanted to move there. My wife and I talked about it. What did it for me was the weather, man. It's just really dreary over there. You might see the sunshine like once every 45 days. A lot of rain, and it's just cloudy. It's not like here. It's a lot like
the Northwest, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's not like here. And that's why I love Colorado, the weather, man. I'm a huge weather guy.
Like today. The weather we're having is like 60 degrees over at 8,000 feet. It's like, how is this even possible,
It's crazy, man. Great. And that's why I'm here. I love it here. But, yeah, the adversity of just bouncing around, the injuries, of course. Any fighter will tell you, man, we go through so much, and everybody's training through injuries. Like, very rarely are you stepping into the octagon or the cage, whatever it may be, the ring, and you're 100% healthy. But I had a couple bad arm breaks. The first time fighting Simon Marcus, I shattered my arm in 5 spots.
Damn.
And then
what was the recovery on that? Was that pretty brutal?
Man, yeah, that was October. So I fought Simon Marcus in May of 2016, world title fight, and he threw 70 up kicks, and I was checking him, with my arms, but they just kept coming. Well, for a couple months, it felt like a little bump right here in my arm, and it's like, man, it just felt like one hard kick and it would just break, right? Well, we fight again. We have a rematch. It was good. Five round battle, another adversity and experience that I walked through that, no one else did that. I did that. It's another important thing about my career is I'm the one that stepped in there every single time. Taking the beatings, taking the wins, And the very next fight, the very first kick he threw right on that spot, boom, breaks my arm. My arm, shatters it 5 spots. So that was October 2016. Finally got back. It took a while. I don't know. March, April was back to training full time. Had a fight in August of that year. My first fight back, I broke the same bone again. I had a plate put in my arm, and the very first kick of the fight hit up high, and the force of that kick snapped the bone at the bottom of that plate.
Oh, shit. And
it happened 20 seconds into the first round. I knew it 100%. My arm broke, and then something went off on me. I was like, man, I have to finish this fight now. And I just went balls to the wall, man. Ended up knocking him down 3 times and won in the first round, and coach comes over. I'm like, dude, arm's broke again. So that was probably the biggest thing. The arm breaks, and then breaks the second time, and I tried coming back, but it just gave me so much pain. I took pretty much all of 2018 off from Probably April-ish, March, April to December. I took it away from the gym. I stepped back. I was working at FedEx, delivering a route every day, like 6 to 1, and I was golfing every afternoon, man.
Nice.
That's what I was doing with my time.
Yeah. And were you doing anything in that time to stay in shape, or?
You know what? Yeah, I'm a very active guy. I was playing basketball a couple nights a week, lifting weights. I never got out of shape. Obviously not in fight shape and not in peak physical shape where,
Sure.
I would be,
But you didn't let it slip,
But
man.
I didn't let it slip. And I'm lucky too, man, because, I kind of, when I'm, my wife and I, we eat healthy, we eat good. Thank God for her, man. She takes care of us. But I'm also the type, I can eat whatever I want. I was drinking probably 4 or 5 days a week,
Well, when you're golfing, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Exactly right.
I always say that I'm not a very good golfer, but I'm really good at drinking beer and driving a cart.
Well, exactly, man. So, I didn't, but yeah, I'm very thankful for that. I can get away with some things that others aren't as fortunate to get away with or as lucky to get away with. But
yeah, my metabolism, I can look at a piece of cake, man, and I'm gaining weight.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
crazy,
I know, man. I'm lucky there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you're a big golfer then, or?
Big golfer, man.
Yeah.
That's probably right up there with one of my top hobbies that I do with my off time and my spare time.
Have you ever golfed up here in Evergreen? Or?
I tell you what, I always wanted to. I was always wanting to get Evergreen. Well, finally, a couple years ago, hell, it was probably 2018 fall. And I was like, it was one Saturday morning. I got a tee time here. It was like 7:30. It wasn't the best weather. And I played absolutely terrible. And the course is so gimmicky, right?
Yeah.
So I shot bad that day. I can't remember. It was like an 89 or like 92. I can't.
Not to mention, there's huge bull elk running around.
Oh, yeah,
and stuff,
I did
and
see
they're
some.
tearing up the golf course
yeah.
and pissing all over everything. And
I thought, you know what? It was just kind of It was. I played by myself with 3 strangers, and it just wasn't good vibes. So I had a bad day. I'd like to get back there again and get some revenge on the course.
Well, let me know, man. I live right on the course pretty much.
Okay.
So maybe I'll come golf with you, and then you
Dude,
see how bad I am.
Let's do it. I'm totally down.
Yeah, let's do it for sure, man.
I'm actually. We have a guys' golf trip that we go on every year, beginning of March 4th through the 8th. And I'm telling my manager, like, dude, we got to get a fight for the end of February. I was like, let's do what we can. I'm training right now. I'm ready. I want to fight end of February. He's like, I'm doing everything I can, man, just for this golf trip. So I'm hoping that nothing interferes. But, if it does, business is business and duty calls. So we'll see, man. We'll just see where the cards fall, and we'll play it how they fall.
Absolutely. So, do you play golf competitively at all, or are you more
I don't,
for
but
pleasure?
I do play I play in tournaments. I play for money. I play. We're always gambling on the course, and then I play in a couple big money tournaments throughout the year. And I've never played. Professionally for money. This is all side bets. Gambling with buddies.
Why wouldn't you?
And big money tournaments, Calcuttas, and things like that. But yeah, cool. I'm always down, man.
Do you golf with other fighters at all? Is there like a group of you? I know like Gaethje's here in Denver, and he's a big golfer, right?
I know he's a big golfer. I'd like to play with him sometime.
Yeah, should hit him up.
Like-minded individuals. I've thrown a couple things out there. He actually fought one of my boys, Brian Foster.
Yeah. I watched that fight.
And Foster's a total badass. One of my blood brothers. Like, that's the guy at the hit squad when I first got there. When I was looking at a UFC fighter, and no disrespect to anybody else that was there, including Matt Hughes, like I saw Brian Foster, like this is a mean bastard. Like that is a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
And that's who I looked up to. And, unfortunately, he had some issues with his head and his career. I mean, I say this all the time, he was the Donald Cerrone before Donald Cerrone. Like, he would have been the guy fighting every other week in the UFC, getting a bonus every time he steps in there. And so when he fought Gaethje, I'm like, man, here we go. Finally, somebody that might, derail the hype. But, dude, Gaethje walked through him, and total props to Gaethje, man. I'm a huge fan. Local guy. He's a badass. And anybody that does that to my boy Brian Foster, I know is a legit. And obviously the proof's in the pudding. Look at the man. So kudos to him. Man, I'd love to play golf with him.
Yeah, no, I think you guys should get out on the course together for sure. So.
Yeah.
I know some people that know him.
Okay. Right.
I'll put
you
a
should
word
try to
in.
get him
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah, I've actually hit him up, and it's just scheduling's been a little bit crazy. You know,
Yeah, I'm sure
You know how it
I'm
is
sure
with
he's a
you
busy
guys,
man.
so,
Oh, totally.
yeah. But yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll get him on, and you know, maybe I can have both of you guys on at the same time after we
Boom.
play a round or something.
There's
Be
a
cool.
bonus, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so what are you training for right now? Do you guys have a fight penciled in
No,
right now? I
no.
mean, you just came out of one. What was it? 2 months ago?
Yeah,
or
it
a
was
month?
October. It
Okay.
was, and then
Halloween, right?
Yeah, it was Halloween night. Yeah, it was.
That was a hell of a knockout too. By the way,
I
man.
appreciate
That was
it, man.
awesome.
I did everything. I went and got everything that I went for, but except the fight night bonus. I kept telling my wife, I was like, I'm gonna get a fight night bonus. I'm gonna get a fight night bonus. Then you're watching the undercard, and there's like every single fight's a knockout, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, you know my.
And there was like
chances are
20 fights on those cards too, man. That's crazy.
dude. There was, I think there was 12 fights.
Okay,
Yeah.
it seemed like 20.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next time. But no, as far as training, we're just we're training, and you know, I'm hoping to hear some news. You know, I'm in my mind, I'm in a camp for something that's going to happen here. You know, the UFC, they took 3 weeks off. They're going to get their first card rolling, I think January 15th or 16th. I think the 16th, and then yeah, they're going to start cranking out fights. So just be ready, man. I'll be getting a call here anytime. I guarantee it.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that, man. So what are you? Do you have a specific path or something envisioned to the title? Like, do you have fighters that you see going through to get to that in that middleweight class? Or?
I do. Well, it's actually light heavyweight is where I'm at now. Yeah. So I came back. I fought the majority of my career at middleweight. Coming back, you know, I walk around at like 210 pounds, and I've always told I think I fight better at 205. I'm quicker to the punch. I typically fight bigger guys, and I fight better against bigger guys. And I don't have to worry about the weight cut. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to physically do it. I don't have to waste any energy whatsoever.
That's got to be
on a
so
weight
hard,
cut.
man. I know how hard it was just in high school wrestling. So I can only imagine it.
And just your thought, just the energy and taking your mind away. You know, when I don't even have to think about that, and I'm eating 5 meals a day the week of the fight, and I feel good, and I'm still working out, and I'm just being me.
Right.
And I feel like that's where I'm at my best. And so it is light heavyweight, but as far as the approach, man, so when I got in there, because I've already fought the top guys, man, in glory, and some badasses that people, you know, you don't realize how good these people are, how experienced they are.
Incredible strikers, right?
Oh, incredible,
yeah.
man, and incredible fighters, like, you know, just
Yeah.
that spirit and just that throwing down mentality. And like I said, I've been through it, so I go into the UFC now, and I'm looking at guys like towards the top that I know, you know, the top. You get into the top 10. There's a whole other level of beast there, because now they're not only like the top, but they're big guys at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
But guys, I know, just right outside that top 10, I know I can go in there and beat them. And same with the top 10. I got the self-belief I can, but I'm just saying the challenge. I mean, it's a steep climb, you know, and that's why I'm training every day and trying to get better and going towards that goal. But there's guys right on the outside that I know I can take, but I got to be smart about it. You know, talking with my management, you know, I'm on the Contender Series contract, so I can't be fighting a guy whose pay scale is way up here and I'm down here. Right. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So get through a couple guys like I just did, and by the way, that guy was 3-3 in the UFC. He was a big dude. He was quick hands. He was a good boxer. I mean, that's what other people are like. Oh, you just walk through him. Well, yeah. I mean, I know though. I know what that means. That means that I'm ready. You know, I know I'm ready. So we'll just see, man. They'll throw us a couple guys, and hopefully, you know, just be some entertainment for the fans.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm sure it'll always be exciting with you, man. In the ring. So, what are some of you? I mean, with your career and what you've done, and I know that this is a career for you, man. Because it's been the better part of 12 years.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've been fighting for more, but yeah, as far as professionally, 10 years.
What are, in your mind, some of the craziest moments that you've had, like in the actual ring or cage?
Oh man, some of the craziest moments in the actual ring or cage.
Or it could be outside of it too, man. I mean,
yeah, nothing really comes to mind. I know there's, something pretty wild, bizarre. Just from a training aspect, I'll tell you, when I trained over in Breda, Holland, those guys are some just animals, man. They're built different. They really are, and I know I am too, and the fighters alike. But these guys, man, we would spar 25 to 30 rounds a week. Monday, Wednesday, every day was training, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday we're sparring. Wednesday was called meet day, and you just show up and you just spar I can't remember how many rounds in a row, just all day.
I would say that's pretty fucking crazy, man. Because go try to do that on a heavy bag or even a speed bag or something like that.
Dude,
yeah,
it was
good luck.
Murderer's row, and of course, being the American guy, they're coming at me a little bit harder,
Yeah.
And but there was this young kid, very good, and he's hard sparring, and I'm just watching him. And he catches I can't remember if it was a hook, a kick, but he gets knocked out cold. This was on a Monday, and he's fighting on the following Saturday. And I'm like, there's no way. So they're all like, oh, it's okay, no big deal. He gets up, and he walks over. Hell, he might have continued sparring after that. I don't remember, or training or whatnot, but I remember he fought that following Saturday, and he knocked out his opponent fighting, and I thought that was pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
He gets knocked out on a Monday, and then he goes and fights and wins by knockout on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So that was pretty intense. I go way back and tell a pretty funny story. Again, training inside the gym, we're at the hit squad, and my buddy Brian Foster, he gets down on all fours. Marcus Pinland's talking, and I can't remember, goes and pushes Marcus, and Marcus falls backwards over Brian. And Brian had just fought and won. And, he's in the UFC. He had 5 UFC fights. 3 of them were bonuses. So, he was that type fighter. And it was one of those fights. So he's all happy, giddy, Well, he trips him. Well, he takes off running. Marcus takes off running, and he gets him up against a wall. And Marcus comes in with a flying knee just to knee him and hits him right in the nuts. So Brian goes down, and Brian can be kind of dramatic, right? And so we're all after 10 minutes, okay, dude, whatever, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, dude, get off the mat. We're trying to train, we didn't just fight and win a bunch of money. We're training, this young in the career. Dude, he wobbles back to the room, and he's like, I go into the room after, he's like, dude, look at this. And he showed me his nut, man, and it was 2 softballs put together.
Oh, God.
In one, coming out. And my eyes got, I was like, dude, you got to go to the hospital.
You got to go see a doctor, yeah. That's the last thing you want to lose.
I was like, bro, well, he lost it all right. I drove him in there, and they had to surgically remove it. all from a little joke that happened on the mat. So I don't know why that one popped in my head, but
isn't it funny how that always happens though? It's always when you're doing something stupid, right?
Just messing around, man. And I said,
I'm just gonna warm up the dirt bike. It's that old classic line.
Well, there you go. Speaking, I got dirt bike stories and with Foster as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, it's crazy how that can happen. So
I had a buddy one time, Justin Robbins. He cut a bunch of weight, ate a bunch of strawberries and fruit, for after the weigh-ins, and stomach was rumbling. Well, he gets in his fight, and guy comes in, takes him down, slams him down. Right when he slams him, he shits his pants.
Oh God!
So I mean,
is he in a singlet too at the same?
He's in tight fight shorts, like Valet Tudo, small tight fight shorts. Fights through it. I can't remember.
Oh, so this was an actual fight. It wasn't
this was in the
wrestling
cage.
match.
No, this was in the cage.
I've seen it in high school wrestling before. Like, oh, coach, I don't feel so good, and then all of a sudden, yeah. You hope you don't have a white singlet on,
I know, right?
Hope that's not your school colors. Because soon they're going to be brown.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But, yeah, man, congratulations on your new contract. We're going to be rooting for you here. But, we're a mountain-based podcast, and I brought you in, to talk about your fight career a little bit too. But we're big into the outdoors here, and I know that you are too. You're a sportsman, you upland hunting, you're elk hunter, you fish. I mean, you kind of just do it all, right? I mean, living here, it's hard not to do it all, right? It's like one season to the next.
Man. Oh yeah, totally. And I'm that guy too. I do it all. Everybody's like, how do you keep going? I just go, man. I get hooked on all kinds of activities, so I love it.
Yeah. And are you an archery hunter?
So I went archery hunting for the first time this year. You know, I've shot a bow before, but I've always wanted to go the past few years since I've been elk hunting, and I'm like, man, it just seems so difficult. And finally this year, I was talking with a buddy, and I was like, man, I'd really like to go, and he's like, yeah, told me the dates he was going or whatnot. And I was at my house, and my wife Kayla had got COVID. She tested positive, and I was like, no way. I was like, which she was fine, no, you know, nothing, just taste, the smell gone, whatever. And I was like, well, now
she's all right now too.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's totally good.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing wrong. It was rapid. Here's another thing. It was rapid testing, and they told her beforehand. They're like, "Look, if you test negative, we're gonna have you test again because sometimes they come out negative. But if you test positive, you got COVID."
Right.
Which gives me the like, hold on. If I test positive, I'd rather you test again to make sure I'm positive.
Yeah.
Now, if I test negative, you're not going to test me again just until you get what you want to see.
Well, my brother had thought that he had it. My brother Dustin, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, my younger brother thought that he had it, and he works for a big company, and they're like, okay, stay home for a week or whatever. And this is at like the height of it, right? And he was like, gosh, should I go get tested? And they're like, well, call the doctor and see what they say. So he calls the doctor. He tells them their symptoms. Like, yeah, you got COVID. Don't come in and get tested. I'm like,
how does that work?
Yeah.
You know?
So then like 2 or 3 weeks went by. He goes in and gets tested so he can go back to work, right? He's feeling better.
Uh-huh.
So he had to go get a test to make sure he was clear. And in the meantime, he got the end of it. He never even had it the whole time. So he thought that he was at home with it, you know, and wasn't even the case.
They got him registered.
Yeah.
they got another one.
So
that they
it's
were
like,
looking
how
for.
does this work out? You know, like how do the numbers work out? I don't know. It's a fucking mess, man. I don't want to turn it into the COVID podcast.
Right, yeah. Right.
I mean, that had to be hard with your wife having it, right?
No,
because
so she gets it. So then, so it's not like I can, you know, it is a real thing. And plus, we got guys fighting at the gym. One guy can't just go in there to the gym. Now everybody's got it. Now we can't fight, you know. And
right.
Throughout this whole thing, Coach Mark was probably tested like 100 times, at least, you know, like 70 plus times, legit, you know, and not one positive test, and that's in and out of the gym and everything. So, I call him up. I'm like, man, you're never gonna believe it. Guess who got COVID? Kayla. I was like, so I'm gonna be away from the gym. And then it just happened to be the same time my buddy was going archery.
Yeah.
So I call him up that day. I'm like, hey man. He's like, hey. I was like, you going archery hunting this week? He's like, yeah, leaving tomorrow. I'm like, dude, I'm coming with you. Is that cool? He's like, absolutely. So he gets me set up with his rig, his extra bow, and we had been a couple weeks prior to this, we had been shooting in his backyard. It was nice. I knew he was going, so you know I was just shooting, and you know that happened. So I had to step away from the gym, and we went. And this year I spent.
That's a good place to self-quarantine, isn't it?
Oh, dude, I spent like 11 or 12 days archery hunting this year, pretty much the whole month of September, which eventually led to me getting very familiar with the area where I got my bull in third season rifle.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude. So I got my second bull in 5 years of elk hunting. I've got 2 bulls and a cow. So
congratulations, man.
It's been pretty. I've been pretty fortunate.
Me as an elk hunter knows how hard that is, man.
Right.
And I struck out this year, straight up.
Oh yeah.
Struck out. I didn't put in enough time. I was busy with this, and we had some family emergencies come up and stuff. But
well, that's another thing about it too is you have to put in the time. You know, you can't. People just see. Oh, man, he gets another elk this lucky, and I'm sure there is a little bit of luck, and I'm not denying that, you know, but I've put in the time, man. I don't know how many miles and hours were spent searching, you know, and looking for sign and just trying to get into them. You know, the elk are where you find them.
Yeah.
And I was out there doing it, man, and I got rewarded, and I was super blessed. I had a big bull, a buddy of mine. It was just 2 of us. We went through the whole process.
I saw your post, man. I think I even commented on it because it was awesome. Yeah, it was
man.
cool to see that.
And you know what it's like going. So it's one thing to go. It's a whole other thing when you actually get one.
Yeah,
you know. Sure. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and it provides for your family, man. I eat elk every single day. I had it for lunch today.
It's the best meat. I mean, that's why I'm so bummed. I'm not really a trophy hunter. I'm not typically after that big bull just because the extra work that goes into that, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. I've got two. I've got
Right.
two big ones now.
So it's like pretty much the first thing that walks in front of me is gonna get it. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
what-
and
and
it's
dude-
just to fill my freezer, straight up.
I'm with you,
Yeah.
man. I've been lucky in getting a couple nice bulls, but ultimately I go for the meat.
Yeah.
That's the and if they're bull there, that's the bonus. But I go for the meat, man. Like I said, I just had it for lunch. We have it every night. I mean,
That's what it's all about,
can't
man.
beat it.
I'm really bumming that we're missed out this year. You know,
I should have
on
brought you
elk.
some if I was
Yeah.
thinking about it. I'm coming to the Mountainside podcast.
No, man, you
Don't
need it,
bring
man.
any
You need it
yoki.
for you need it for your upcoming fights for sure,
Yeah,
man. It
it's
makes
power
you
food. It's
I
power
swear,
food.
Yeah. So, how are you cooking? I mean, are you doing it on a grill or?
Everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
we make burgers.
We got
pasta.
Traeger as a sponsor here, so
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you have one of their grills, but man, it is the way to go.
Oh, so I had a Traeger. So
okay.
that's
Oh,
actually
shit.
that's
Yeah,
actually
right
my
there.
buddy's Traeger. I was at his house cutting up my bull. But I had a Traeger. We actually just gave it to my wife's parents. They were just out here in November, the same time I took this guy down. And it was getting older. We had a townhome. Now we don't have a spot for our grill. So we gave it to them, sent it back with him, said, hey, man, enjoy it. When we get a set up to where we can have a grill, I'll just get a new one.
Yeah,
So-
hell yeah. Well, hit me up when you do. I'll send you some contacts or something.
Right on.
Yeah.
I will, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
They actually make these little portable ones. They're meant for camping, but
I've
I
seen
thought about
those.
and they're just a couple $100. You might be able to throw that on your patio or
I've
something.
seen
You know,
those.
it might
Yeah.
be worth it. I don't
Yeah.
know how well they work, compared to the big ones, but I would imagine with that name Traeger, it's going to work pretty good.
Look, if you slide over on that picture and you keep going right above, go back one. So right above my hand there, this is earlier in the day and we're walking and we're just, looking up these big draws and where I eventually saw him is like right above my hand like 4 hours later. So it's pretty cool that I got this photo. And then another couple miles walking back, and then like another 1,000 yards up a draw is where we were going. So
It's crazy, man, because you'll be glassing with these huge binoculars, and you see elk on the other side of a mountain. You're like, there's only one way to do it.
Right.
You got to go after.
well,
them,
that's
right?
the thing, man.
Yeah.
And so we saw him, and I told my buddy, I was like, man, the only way we get this done is if one of us goes, the other one just kind of stays and keeps an eye on him. And he looked right at me. He goes,
And
well,
that's a nice bull, man.
yeah, he was. I think he was on a little bit of the younger side, but
Hey, it tastes better.
yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, my buddy looked at me. He's like, well, I know who's going. I was like, well, I'm down. I'm down to go. But oh man, it was a journey, dude. We saw them at and at 1:30 is when I started my climb up this mountain.
Oh damn, yeah.
And I pulled the trigger a little after 4:30. So more than 3 hours of just straight walking, and it was steep, and there was snow, and I fell probably 25 times, and it was right after my fight, so my shin was still kind of whatever was going on with it, from the kicks I had. I just had
Yeah.
a real bad bone bruise, and man, it was just in so much pain. It hurt so bad. And going up, I thought, it hurt bad. It was coming down where I just kept sliding and banging off of trees. That wasn't any fun, man.
Yeah.
But heck, it was all worth it in the end.
And then you get one, right?
Oh, and then
the
you
work
get one.
starts.
Well, and then my buddy's still at the bottom, so
Yeah.
I got him down 3/4 of the mountain just myself.
Yeah.
And thank God there was an incline and being able to pull, and then I was jumping out of the way because I was scared to death of the antlers coming down and catching me.
Oh yeah.
I told him, man, I was like, dude, I am so terrified. I was like, I'm legit scared of these damn things sliding down the mountain. But
Yeah, that's
it
a
was-
big animal. I mean, that's probably every bit of 500-600 pounds, right?
Yeah, man. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, easily 700, I'd
Yeah.
say. The average male is 700 pounds, and he was
Yeah.
a big bull. He was big, but what's really cool about this one, man, is we're doing all this, and my late grandma actually passed away on the same day that I took this bull, and it sucks. She was kind of battling Alzheimer's and dementia, and had fell down the stairs in August and broke her vertebrae. And she was put in the hospital, and with COVID, they had such hard restrictions. The people in and out, they weren't allowing it, which was very unfortunate. And
that's the one thing I'd want to see if I was on my deathbed. It was my family, you know what I mean? And people couldn't do that. That's what I was thinking about during all this. And
man, I know.
Man, I'm sorry for your loss too.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and I know it tore my grandpa up, and so imagine the high you're on. You just get this thing, and all the work I've done. We finally get it packed out. Finally get to, and we were camping, but we got kicked out of our campsite. That's whole other. So my buddy knew a guy that was a developer contractor in the area we were, and he owned a bunch of property. Well, he recently sold this property to the city. And so we were camping there. The city comes, puts a sticker on our tent saying you can't camp here. So we packed it up and we went and got a cheap hotel. Well, finally, after we packed this thing out, we get back to the hotel. I sit down. My buddy hops in the shower. It's like 11:12, and at 11:15, I get the text that my grandma passed away. So I was on this. Man. I was on this just miraculous high, just like, and I was sitting there staring at the head. We brought the head in, he didn't want to get stolen, and it's covered up, but it's sitting in a trash can, and I'm just looking at it and like just thinking of everything that day of what we did, and then boom, I get that text. So it was just like a emotional just roller coaster right there. But so that's really cool, man. I'm actually gonna get that on a nice plaque and get it out to my grandpa.
Awesome. Are you going Euro mount or?
Yeah, we already Euro mounted it. So,
well, that's a cool gift, man.
Yeah, did it right in my buddy's backyard there with that Traeger, and
cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's awesome. So you're also a bird hunter, big
dude,
time.
Now
I know you and Coach go a lot, right?
Yeah. We just went on Sunday. That is what I really do. If you actually go to my dog's Instagram, my dog has an Instagram. But
Stop everything. Your dog has his own Instagram?
Oh, he does.
Oh.
So
go ahead and drop it, man, so people can follow it.
Yeah, it's at Dak Attack Man, and I did that so I wouldn't be like the crazy guy that just floods my stuff with him.
Sure.
I wanted him to have his own, and for basically all of the hunting.
My dog's got one too, man.
Right? Well, my dog will have to follow your dog. We'll have to link our dogs up. What kind of dog do you have?
It's a Blue Heeler we just picked up.
Oh, okay, cool.
During this quarantine,
Nice.
I actually had her on hold prior to us going into quarantine with a breeder, and it's a breed that I've always had, just they're not a real big dog, kind of a medium-sized dog, and super smart, they're a great family dog,
Do you have a bunch of do you have a bunch of land for him to run?
I mean, we live right here.
Okay,
so
you just take them out, because those guys just run, right?
No, she thinks she's a duck hunting dog. Like I got these. They're not decoys, but it's like the cheap Browning decoy, right? $11-12, and I've went through 50 of them. I should just get a real decoy by now. But she thinks she's a duck hunting dog, man. She'll swim after it in the lake. She loves to run on the ice. I mean, I'm always taking her somewhere. I try to get out and put on the miles as much as I can on a trail, as much as I can.
Okay, well, you're
especially
the best
leading
spot,
into
man.
elk hunting season, and I can go out my back door and hop into. They're not national parks, but it's open space. So there's a lot of parks up here, Denver Mountain Parks and stuff that just have trails that go for miles and miles, and a lot of those connect. I mean, you can do 30 or 40 miles in a day if you really wanted to.
Oh, hell yeah.
So she goes with me on that,
The energy you pick up from being out there, man.
Oh, it's
you know what I mean?
It's awesome, especially leading into elk season. About summer, I'll change up my regiment, and especially this summer because of everything that was going on, right? My favorite way to train is to go in and roll jiu-jitsu or go do a striking class or something like that. But I've kind of slowed down on a lot of that with the COVID stuff, and just, you don't know. I mean, I think it'd be a little bit different if I was in a gym like you guys where you knew it was controlled and people were doing it as a profession. It was really controlled. But a lot of these other places, you don't know who's walking in there or where they've been or what field that they work in.
Right.
And I know firsthand some of the guys that I roll with are doctors and stuff. So it's like kind of, do I want to do that? And I'm also trying to help out some family members that are, in their 80s and stuff like that too. So it's just like, you know what? I'll just put the pause on. So I did a lot more miles this year. I got to the point where I was doing, I was throwing water in my frame pack, right? Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna be packing, which I do anyways, but I was doing it all summer long, and it was awesome, man. It turned, and I was in such great shape when when the elk hunting season came, or archery season, that to do 20 miles with just my light little pack was no big deal after doing that all summer, you know.
Oh, dude, and just getting out and kicking dirt. I have a buddy in the upland game, Anthony Farrow of Fetching Feathers, man. Good buddy of mine. Went out to my fight in Vegas, and I met him through Dak's Instagram and the upland community. I really started following these other dogs and these upland hunters, and just going. I just got obsessed again. And I had a good buddy of mine, Mark's buddy that he grew up with, and his dog Echo is actually right there on the right.
Nice.
We got him about the same time. We took him out, did all the training.
Are those labs or?
Yeah, mine's an English lab and Echo's an American lab. So Dak's got a little bit bigger head.
What's the difference?
When they were puppies, right there. So the American lab's a little bit smaller, got a skinnier face. They're typically built for more running, more retrieving. The English lab, they're bigger, got the big blockhead. They're just a little bit beefier. Dak, man, he's pure muscle. They're sometimes more waterfowl dogs, duck dogs, but
smart though, and it changes bird hunting completely to have a dog. Like I've been fortunate enough with the little bit of bird hunting that I've done. And for me as a sportsman, that's one thing I don't do anymore that I probably had the most fun doing was duck hunting and pheasant hunting and quail especially.
Oh, man. I love quail. Yeah, we've gotten into the quail this year.
Yeah, I might need to get back into that. But
so the first year I move out here and I meet James Dryling, and it's a good buddy of Mark. They grew up together. And I went out with him that season, dude, and I came home and I told my wife, I was like, babe, I need a new shotgun and I need a new dog. Yeah. And she says, I think you need new friends. And I'm like, no. I was like, I'm getting a shotgun, I'm getting a dog. Well, next season I had a shotgun and we had a dog. And best $500 that her and I ever spent. This guy's our whole world. He's the man. And so we went and picked him up, met my mom in Salina, Kansas. He came from a good buddy of mine in Illinois. He bred him, and we picked him up. We did all the training together, each other, and I get to,
How hard is that to go through? I mean,
it wasn't bad. We went out to Strasburg Game Birds, which is no longer there. That's another funny story. When the first time I went out there, I'm like, dude, how is this place still, running? Like, there's no way they can just, they're making money or, they're staying in business. He's like, dude, they've been open ever since I was, knee high to a duck's ass, little kid coming out here. Very next year they were closed down.
Really?
It was so he was like, man, Jacoby, you cursed them, But no, it's not hard. You plant the birds and you let them get out there. They're
smart breed, man.
Oh, they're very smart, man. You let them run around and get familiar with the field, so they're picking up all different scents. Then you get them back in the kennel. Then you walk out and you rock the bird to sleep and you plant it. And then you come back to the kennel and you let them out and you let them work till I find it. And early on, you want to make sure you get them gun broke. You don't ever want to take your dog hunting right away, blast a 12 gauge over him, and now the guy's hiding underneath the truck for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So you got to get him out there, shoot a 22 around him. Let him flap at the bird. Let him go after the bird. They're pin race birds, so they're not flying away too far.
Sure.
And then, from there, just, I always say you just got to get them out. It's from there. It's all about getting out and just hunting. We just went Sunday. It's been a tough year for birds this year.
Yeah. With the drought that we had.
Dude, real tough year.
Yeah.
Real tough year. I mean, there's so many times around the corner and you see all those roosters out there. I get excited, man. I get so excited. And like I said, dude, the dog. I go out there and my biggest thing is just watching the dog work. I get so much joy in that, and they do some amazing things. Just watching them find those birds, and we got lucky with those two. They've been on over 100 birds each year of their life, minus this year. This year, man, they've been lucky to see, I don't know, a fraction of that. Just with the numbers are down, but
sure.
But we go a lot, man. So and what I was saying. So
now, are you doing that in Colorado? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, we're out in eastern Colorado.
Awesome. There's a lot of great spots out there, and even going into Kansas, right? I mean,
so we did opening weekend in Kansas this year.
Nice.
And, got into the quail and then got into some pheasant and then we hunt just shy of the Kansas border, all up and down.
Yeah.
And And then we hunt.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you prior to that.
Well, I was talking about, I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy at Fetching Feathers, and how I met him I was on Dak's Instagram and just going through all this bird dog stuff and checking things out. And
so this is your dog's Instagram here,
yeah.
Dak Attack Man.
Dak Attack Man. That's Dak. Dak Attack Man.
There's some underscores in there too, in between each word. So
yeah, and I think if you just space it out, it'll still pop up.
Nice.
And he's on, on my page. If you go to my page at the Hanyak, you can, if you really look into it, you can find him there. But that's where I primarily post a lot of stuff with him because, like I said, I didn't want to be the, the crazy dog dad that's putting the dog thing up, So I've got, pretty much everything on there with him. But
it's crazy. I wonder how many dog accounts are out there, man. Because
there's gotta be.
I got one.
There's gotta be.
Everybody I know's got their dog's got an account.
So when you say everybody and their dog, it's quite literally everybody and their dog, And that's what is wrong with. And it's not wrong. It's just the social media platform is now everybody has an opinion, right? So So Joe over here, whatever he says can be spread to so many people. More than the local newspaper, know. So, and then you don't know what's real, what's fake. You got fake news. It just
goes
on
and
all
on,
over the board, man. But it's kind of funny because my dog has an Instagram. I'm like literally quite
could be
everyone
an
and their dog,
influencer.
right? For sure.
Yeah. No, but I think it's great, man. I actually like following some of the dogs. A lot of times I'll just follow the dogs that we personally have met, on trips, paddleboard trips or whatever like that. Like, oh yeah, my dog's got an Instagram, and it's a good way to keep up with it. And a lot of people don't have another agenda if they're posting pictures of their dogs. I'm sure you don't have any political agenda when it comes to to Dak.
No,
right?
what I do is, I've actually met some. I tell you that what, man. Before here's another buddy that I've met, but before my Dana White Contender Series fight, they put up a picture of my brother and I hunting with my dog and his dog. He's got a German short hair. Really nice hunting dog, and we go out and do a trip together. Well, they posted that picture. Well, then this Jake Lindemann from Chief Upland, shout out to Chief Upland, a super awesome vest. Saw that and Chief is his lab chief, who's a brown lab, and he reached out to me. He's like, dude, your dog's awesome. Saw Dak's Instagram. He's like, you guys like to hunt? Well, I ended up getting a bunch of gear from him at Chief Upland. So
awesome.
Yeah, dude, very thankful for that. That's the vest right there, which is an awesome vest. I highly recommend it. I'm wearing the hat, Chief Upland. If you're an upland hunter, a bird hunter, the vest it's so comfortable. You get to build it. The aftermarket accessories, you get to choose what you want, and then you get to build your vest how you want it.
Nice.
So super cool product, and very thankful. The UFC put a picture of my dog and I hunting, and I got us in touch. So
yeah, that's great.
So I use Dak's profile for hunting stuff. If I'm ever trying to reach out to hunting or learn different aspects of the game. So it's pretty cool.
That's great, man. What a lot of fun. I mean, that's so much fun, man, just being out there. And there's, with elk hunting and stuff, that's a whole different animal. But I feel like bird hunting, you actually get to spend time with your friends because a lot of it's in the truck. It's not super close. You're going super far, and then you're spending a lot of time in a field together because you're pushing
together,
them,
you're
right?
talking on radios together. Yeah.
It's a good time, man.
It's a great time, and a lot of people look at hunters like, oh, you're just going and killing things. Like, no, man, like just getting out and watching the dog work and kicking dirt, quite literally kicking dirt and exercising and being at 10,000 plus feet in the mountains and seeing things that people don't see. Like you just don't see that unless you're out there.
Yeah. A lot of it's the journey. It's not
the
actually
journey,
the
man.
killing.
It's incredible. It's not the killing, and it's like people talking about, those poor birds you're killing. Well, A, we harvest them, we eat them, but B, you building all these subdivisions and taking all this property away. I had a buddy in his 60s, just went hunting with opening weekend in Kansas. Hell, he might be early 70s now. Said when he was a kid, like 6, 7, 8 years old, he used to hunt right there off of Wadsworth and like Jewel area, right there by the
I'm
old
sure,
Green Gables. And look at all the everything's built up. That's doing more damage for these animals than us going out and killing a couple birds, you know?
Sure.
So if you think about it like that,
I mean, it kills just as many animals probably going to the store and buying a loaf of bread. People don't realize either. I mean, that's heavy equipment that's out there in those fields,
man.
you know? Like, so it's kind of, you got to look at it ethically a little bit too, you know? Like, if you're going to make that statement that, you know, you're out there just killing these poor animals,
make sure
there's
you
other
know,
things.
Make sure you know that the other shit you support is damaging it.
As
tenfold
well.
more than what
it's
we're
not
doing.
just hunting, right? So
Right.
I think that everybody needs to look into that a little bit more. But I think another thing that people don't realize is sportsmen's dollars, especially here in the state of Colorado, pay for a lot.
Oh,
I
heck
mean,
yeah.
they pay for all these nice parks that we have. They pay for the bridges that cross these rivers on your running trails. They pay for,
Totally.
I mean, a ton of stuff.
Yeah, which is another which is awesome. You know,
Yeah,
it's nice
it's
to know
great,
that there's a lot of good that comes from it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that whole concept of hug a hunter, hug a fisherman, or something like that. You know, I think people need to look into it a little bit more and the ethics and stuff. That like these people aren't out just to murder animals, right?
No.
I mean, that to me as a sportsman, killing is the worst part for me. Like I get emotional, man. I honestly do.
I feel you, dude.
It's like it's exciting at the moment because you've tried and you've put so much work into it, and you've had some success, right? But then your emotions take over, and it's like, oh man, it's
Totally.
it puts life in perspective.
100%. Yeah.
So
It really
I
does.
urge people to really look into it, and you know, go try it sometime. You know, like
Right.
I think more kids would benefit from that than playing a video game that's a first shooter position or something.
yeah.
You look at life a little bit different, you know, and like to have young eyes on something like that and see what that process is to actually process meat and where it comes from. And I mean, there's so much you can learn from that. I learned a lot from it as a kid, you know.
Couldn't agree
Yeah.
more, man. Couldn't agree more. You said it all. You said it best. Yeah. Yeah.
So did you grow up hunting as a kid, or I mean, was your family into that? Is that
So yeah, my brothers always went hunting. I would go like not like I do now.
Uh-huh.
I would go, but it was so boring to me. You know, I had to sit around. I wasn't into it. I wanted to be playing sports. I wanted to be playing football. I wanted to be playing a pickup game of football, wrestling around, whatever it was. And my brother and the getting up early every time they go to get you up,
Right.
and you know 9 times out of 10 I'd be like, I'm good. You know, I go back to bed. My brother would be out. You know, so. But then as I got a little bit older now, I mean, I do it, you know, passionately. I do it. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a form of meditation too, you know, like being out there and just reset and like by yourself. You're not thinking about the day to day, or if you are, you're problem solving. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Oh, dude, you get completely lost, and you're not looking at your phone. You're not on social media. You're not caught up in, you know, what's going on in the real world. You're just kind of in your own little world, and you're dreaming and daydreaming and thinking about goals and just thinking about life and, you know, the accomplishments and what you're gonna achieve and what you're gonna seek next. What you're after next. So I enjoy it, man. When I'm sitting there by myself, there's so many thoughts going through my head, and then hey, I might get lucky and see an animal, you know, and
Right.
And like you said, the killing part, that's tough for me too. I'm walking up to it and I feel, you know, you have that first glance, you're like, man, what did I just do? Took this guy's life. But you know, just knowing that it's a blessing to feed my family and to bring the meat back and to process it all myself with the help of a friend and you know, just go through that whole process. It's awesome, man. It really is. It just gives you a whole different meaning.
And it's hard to explain to somebody, like especially just sitting here over the mics, right? And for people that are listening, unless you've experienced firsthand, it's one of those things that you cannot explain. The amount of adrenaline and rush that goes through your body and just the influx and emotions, you know, and especially when you have something that happened to you that's life-changing, you know, like a family member or something around the same time, you know. Similar thing happened to me this season. It cut our season short, but it was like, you know what? It just puts it in perspective because you come out of that completely with a fresh mind, coming out of the woods or the forest or wherever you're at, or maybe a field.
Right.
I just feel like okay, now I know what I need to do. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, man. And you're just out there. I love it. You can't beat it. Just exploring.
yeah, I urge anybody to go try it out. If they haven't, don't be scared, man. Go talk to somebody. Go ask questions. Get out there and try to enjoy that. Being a Colorado native, right? I mean, I know you didn't grow up here your whole childhood, but you were born here, man. I consider you a native. You're back here now, and you love this place. What are some things that you've seen with the influx in people? I mean, other than subdivisions going in and taking bird habitats and stuff like that, there's been such an influx in people here. What are some common things that you run into when you're in the outdoors that you wish people would do a little bit better, or you think people could do a little bit better?
Yeah, just taking care, leaving the place better than you found it. That's one thing a buddy of mine always said, and I've always believed that as well, is if you can leave a place better than you found it, then everything would be better, right? So you're going through and, I'm doing a lot of upland hunting right now, so we're out there and there's just litter and trash all over the place. And who knows if that's coming from other hunters and stuff, but it just comes down to leaving it better than how you found it, right?
Sure.
And then also going out, you see, I'm telling you, where I used to hunt Unit 18, and I can't say too much because, I just started getting into it as well, and I understand that I haven't always been doing it. I haven't always been doing it here. But I've just noticed in the years, that the growth of this one little spot that I went to at Unit 18 near Granby, which unfortunately with the East Troublesome fire burned down this year.
Right.
And everything, I had just been archery hunting there like 3 weeks prior to that fire coming through, and which really threw off my tags, made me go third season, and that was a whole other debacle going through that. But
I think there was a ton of guys that went through that this year, including me. I mean, it changed. We had to change some plans because of all that was going on, man.
And I wish I would have just went into the office ahead of time instead of mailing my tickets in, or my tags, because when I mailed my tags in, I can't imagine how many other people were doing the same thing, and they never got them, and I almost wasn't able to get the tag that I had my bull for this year.
Oh, really?
Dude, it took 2 hours.
I do all mine online, man. It's the way to go because it's...
Yeah, but when I sent my tags in, I couldn't be issued a tag without them receiving my tags.
Oh, so from like archery season going into third rifle or something like that to get your B tag, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got you.
And so they hadn't got my tags. So and I know they did. I actually saw I got refunded, so I know they did get them. But I told them, I was like, dude, if you don't get this, I was like, you can suspend my hunting licenses for life. I was like, but we leave tomorrow. This is on a Friday. I kept waiting, nothing. So I finally went in there. This is on a Friday. We were leaving the next day. Or I may have been on a Thursday. We went up Friday. But either way, man, I finally got it done. I had to talk to the guy over the phone, and they did me a solid. They issued me the tag without receiving my tags. So if I hadn't ever sent those tags in, that was a big no-no on my end. But I knew I did, so I was just waiting for that. But just going out, and you see so many more. That's another thing my buddies were asking me back in Illinois. We went back for the holidays, and they're like, so are you on public ground when you're doing this? I'm like, yeah, we're on public ground. I was like, do you see other hunters? I'm like, yeah, you do. I mean, it's just growing. It's a lot, man. There's a lot of people coming in, and just like I said, I can't knock it too much, but I mean, you're a guy that's lived here your whole life.
Yeah, I grew up here and grew up bow hunting, and my family's been bow hunters for as long as I can remember, or elk hunters, and they actually homesteaded part of Evergreen right here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I hunted as a kid, and well into high school and stuff like that, and then even a little bit out of high school. But I wanted a career in the music business, so I up and moved to California, and I lived in Hermosa Beach for almost 20 years, 20 years.
And you did music the whole time out there?
Yeah, I was touring with rock bands and doing that whole thing, and I'm super fortunate. Got to go all over the world, and then as soon as my daughter was born, that kind of changed a lot, right? I was like, wait a minute, I want to be home. I don't want to be on a tour bus. I don't want to be, all over the world while my daughter's growing up. So I changed it up, and I started doing some major sporting events. So I did a lot with boxing. I did a lot with the Super Bowl halftime. production type stuff. But yeah, and then also having kids, it made it come kind of full circle. Like, where do I want them to grow up? And that was when I realized, like, I've been all over the world. I've been to every major continent. I've seen a lot of different places. Not everywhere in the world, right? That's near impossible. I mean, but I was just like, this is the spot. I want my kids to grow up in the same dirt I did.
Evergreen, Colorado.
Yeah, I want them to play in the same areas. I want them to have the same, and they go to the same elementary school that I did.
Super
so that's
cool.
It's
How
cool.
old are your kids?
So they're I have a 2-year-old about to turn 3 next week. And then the oldest is 10, and then I have a boy in the middle. So 2 girls and a boy, yeah.
Right on, man.
So, no, it's awesome. And they love being here, like having that little bit of history and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I moved away and came back, and I was in shock with how much it had changed just in that time.
20 years away?
Yeah, well, I would come back in the summers and visit family.
Okay.
All of my family lives here.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would come back and visit, but it was like, if you're only here for a couple weeks and you're only staying with family, you don't really realize, how much is going on. And I took a break from hunting all that time, And so then moving back, it was almost like relearning coming back into it, not relearning, and I'm fortunate enough that I have uncles and, brothers and stuff like that have just never stopped. They've never left, So it's like,
that's cool.
They were like, oh yeah, you need this, this, and this. This is what's changed with bows. It's like, oh, you don't shoot a compound bow with your fingers anymore. Like, no, there's these things called releases now. So it was a whole new learning experience. But I got back on the horse pretty quick, And but yeah, it's just amazing to me how many people, like, I guess growing up, I was always taught values, right? Like, I was able to go out and do things on my own, but I had to be responsible. Like, I had a pocket knife, but if I cut myself with it, I knew it was going to get taken away, right? Like,
right.
So you had to be responsible with it,
cause
right?
and effect. Yeah.
Same with a gun, Like, I was taught from a young age, like, here's your .22 rifle, and I think I might have been under the age of 10, and they let me store it, keep it. I had to keep it unloaded. I had to keep my bullets in a separate. So, like, learning that responsibility, I still have those values to today.
Right.
And then also, when I went camping, it was, you take all your trash out. You don't leave it in the fire pit. You make sure your fire's out. There was just certain things that you did, right?
Dude, make sure the fire's out.
Yeah.
Don't
drown
just
it,
leave
bury it. I
Yeah.
mean, all those things. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be camping near some sort of water. You're going to have to bring some water with you. So drown it. So I was just taught well, I guess, and was raised well with those sort of ethics. And I think if you grow up in an inner city or something like that, you don't go out and experience those sort of things unless you go to a summer camp. And generally there's a bathroom involved, or you're sleeping in some sort of bunkhouse or something. There's probably somebody that cleans up the cafeteria after you're done eating, or,
right.
You know what I mean? You're not preparing your own food. So I think I was just always taught the right way to do things. And then coming back, I think that it's just miseducation. And some of it isn't even their fault, I don't think. I think that, trash blows out of somebody's trash can that lives up here in the mountains. It washes down the ditch, and then it ends up in the river, So you can't blame that on another sportsman throwing it out all the time either.
Right.
I think shit happens. I mean, it happens at the beach all the time.
Totally.
All that trash flows into the ocean, that's left in the streets and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a problem as well.
Yeah.
The plastic in the oceans, man.
It's crazy. It's not like people are literally going out there and chucking this bottle.
Right.
Well, I mean, some people are.
Some people are.
If you're doing that, you're an asshole. I'm sorry.
Totally.
You know what I mean? But I think a lot of it is just miseducation. And then, if you see it out there, like you said, prime example, and you hit the nail on the head, leave it better than when you showed up,
right.
if you can. So,
yeah.
So, yeah, but that was the whole reason for starting this podcast, and just seeing all that different things, like pulling into a campsite and you can see everywhere that somebody went to the bathroom for the last week that they had been camped there, or 2 days. And then you go to the fire pit and it's full of trash. It's like,
come on, man.
Yeah. There's not somebody that comes up and cleans after you,
Right.
The Forest Service doesn't have that sort of
and if you're from
infrastructure.
the inner city, you just don't get it, I guess. I mean, a lot of it's common sense. How you grew up, like you said. There's a cause and effect. There's for every action, there's a
Reaction, yeah.
Yeah, reaction. I cannot think of the word what I'm trying to say. But there's a consequence. For every action, there's a
Sure,
consequence.
there you go. Two guys here trying to figure something out, trying to sound smart. Yeah.
I've been hit in the head too many times.
Nah,
man.
me too, man. So don't
Right
worry
now,
about that.
I'm dealing
Yeah.
with some cauliflower ears, so
Yeah.
I really feel it, like the headphones, like the pressure
If
on
they're
my
bothering
ear.
you, man, just rock one ear
Yeah,
off or
it's
something.
it's not
so.
too bad. But you see that thing? You see that
Yeah,
monster
man,
I'm
that's a
dealing with?
good one.
And I have big ears already, so I
Right.
can't let this get too out of
It
control.
sucks
man.
when they get that bad too, because you
Oh.
can't tuck them under a hat or
Oh,
anything
I
like
hate
that,
it.
right?
I hate it.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to. You don't have to keep those on if they're bothering you, man. We can do
That's
it
all
without
good.
it. So,
We'll make it work. I might put it behind me there.
but growing up in Fort Morgan, huh? That's pretty much like farm community type.
Yeah, it's
area,
small. It's
right?
farm community. It's flat. It's the plains. There's a sugar beet factory that my grandpa worked at his whole life. He grew up in Windsor, Colorado. Started with at 18. They moved to Goodland, Kansas. He was working at the sugar beet factory. That one closed down, and he went to Fort Morgan, Colorado, and that's where my brother and I were raised or born in 1988. So
Wow,
32 years old.
Nice, awesome, man. Yeah, I'm super fortunate that I grew up in Colorado. I feel very lucky that I grew up right here. So
Yeah, and it was cool because, even being that far away from Denver or over the foothills, you look out the back patio on a clear day, you can just see the snow-capped mountains right
yeah.
there, man.
That's pretty
Every
crazy.
day. And then we would take, we were no strangers to the mountains. My grandparents loved mountain rides. We'd always saddle up every weekend and head to the mountains. My family had a cabin up near Granby.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, by Grand Lake, and
Yeah.
we'd go up there.
That's so awesome up there.
Yeah, and we'd fish the river right behind the cabin, and we'd go into town, and I caught my first fish in Granby, and that's where I shot my first bull elk, several years later. So pretty sweet, Colorado kid, and moved away for a little bit, obviously out of my control. My family did, my mom did, and but I always knew I wanted to be back, and like I was telling you, I don't know if we were online yet or not, but my wife's niece is driving out right now with her boyfriend. They're sophomores in college. She's a sophomore in college. I think he's a freshman.
You had mentioned it, but then we kind of dove in and started this thing. I don't think it was on tape.
Oh,
so
okay.
tell that story, man, because it's cool.
Yeah, so this was, my wife and I came out. We had been together like 2 weeks, and we hopped in her parents' Trailblazer, and we just drove out to Colorado. We visited my family, all of my blood families here in Colorado, and we went skiing, and we stayed with my aunt and uncle, and they're like, oh, it'd be cool. And I told Kayla right then and there, I was like, we're going to move out. We're going to live here one day. And my aunt and uncle, they're like, oh, yeah, it'd be awesome if you did. Well, fast forward, we end up moving out, when we're 25, 26 years old. Yeah, 25. And anyway, her niece is driving out right now with her boyfriend. They're sophomore, about the same age we were when we first came out. So we'll see where life takes them. But I just think that's kind of crazy, on this day that their first trip out was.
You just got to take them to some good spots, man. Bring them
Yeah,
up
I'll have to
here,
show 'em.
whatever.
I'm sure
take
they'd
them ice skating or something.
Dude, I tell you what, we're going ice skating tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow
right on.
At the Gaylord, the new facility out kind of
Yeah.
by the airport.
Right on.
I think it's Gaylord.
Yeah, there's a big new hotel and
it's called I think it's Gaylord something, but
okay.
the whole setup might have a different name. I'm not sure, but we're going ice skating tomorrow.
Cool,
tomorrow
man.
Afternoon,
yeah, you
so.
got to bring them into the mountains though, too, man.
Oh,
that's,
so we
that's
are.
The key,
yeah, we are. We're gonna plan on heading up to Breck. We have some friends that are in the area, so we're gonna go check that out and show them around up there a little bit.
Awesome,
And then we'll be heading down. They take off. They're flying back, or they're driving back Sunday. So.
Have they been to Colorado before?
They have, actually. They came out. They were both out here. One of my fights when I fought in Denver at the
nice.
Magnus Arena. It was Glory 24. And it was like October of 2015, I believe, was the last time that he was out here. And then Hillary, Kayla's niece, she actually came back with us last year after Christmas. We went to Illinois for Christmas.
So they know what they're
back.
getting into a little bit then.
Oh, yeah, they love it. I don't know if they're ready for this nice weather. Although, is it supposed to turn cruddy here pretty soon?
I think Saturday we're supposed to get snow here. I don't know about in the Denver area. But yeah, I think
tomorrow
above
it starts
like
changing a little bit.
little bit, yeah. Today was freaking crazy, man.
Oh,
I'm like
okay.
rolling around
all
in a
week.
t-shirt and
Oh,
shorts
hell
going
yeah.
to the gym. I was like, What?
Yeah,
it's
dude,
like,
I know. That's the
I
thing
was
about
ready for
Colorado
spring,
that people don't realize is that sun's right on top of you, and even and it's always a bluebird day, right?
Right.
That was what was so cruddy about this summer, man. Is we had the COVID bullshit going on, but then we had all the fires.
Yeah.
And all the fires blowing in from Cali, and it seemed like every day was just dark and cruddy.
2020 is just so strange.
It's was been a strange year, man.
I feel like it's been very good. I mean, like, you've had a good year career-wise.
Hey,
I have. I mean,
badass, dude.
Yeah.
Props to you.
A lot of changes.
2020 was a great year for me. I want to say that too. Is life is what you make it. Everything's
100%.
Perspective, and what you okay. You get shit thrown at you, obstacles thrown at you. There's adversity in every day. You got to find a way around it, and you got to find a way to keep going and make the most of it. Perspective and attitude is everything in life. And I had a good attitude. I always do. I kept working hard. I kept grinding. Opportunity came my way. There's a good Warren Buffett quote that I heard early on, like about a year ago now, that really stuck out to me, and it was, "Be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful." Mm-hmm. And this year, dude, a lot of people were fearful, and the UFC kept going. They were a powerhouse through it all, the only sport going on. And I put that quote out there, and I was like, when it's time to come and it's time for my opportunity, I'm going to get mine. Yeah. So I was greedy in this time, man. And in my career, the ups and downs, dude, life is chaotic for me. So
I got to ask you too, how do you keep that focus? I mean, because there's so much outside influence and just like, I always call it tunnel vision, but how do you just keep your tunnel vision and not let that?
What I tell the guys all the time, man, is short-term memory and bulletproof confidence. And you just got it, and that comes with the highs and the lows. After my fight, I was on an incredible high, and I had so many people telling me how good I was, and like, dude, you're gonna go on this crazy good run, and then, there wasn't so much down here, but in my career, I've had people telling me how, oh, he's not that good. Oh, he's not going to excel. Oh, he's too old now. He's not going to make it. The UFC is way past his prime. What I have to say to both those groups of people is they're all wrong. Like you said, you got to find that middle zone. You got to find that tunnel vision, and you just got to stay focused. And through it all, man, it's the self-belief. That you asked about that focus. It comes from somewhere deep inside. I mean, it's how I see myself. It's how I perceive myself. It's how I want to be perceived. And all I know what to do is put my head down and grind and just continue getting better. Find daily results. That's another thing that Mark Montoya has really preached to us. And more I think about it, man, Mark is a really good guy. He's a guy you want to surround yourself around. He's a guy you want to surround yourself around because he seems like a guy that, everything he touches kind of turns gold. And, I feel like that's my path too, So, but yeah, if you can find daily results and just keep pushing, man, like I said, you just got to, it comes from deep within, that tunnel vision and that, how I see myself, how I believe in myself. And,
that's good advice, man. Cause I think a lot of people get stuck in their own mind or get scared to do stuff, or scared to ask questions or learn,
why is another thing. A pastor, Red Rocks, one of Mark's good buddies, came in and talked to us, and he was saying comparison is a thief of all of us, right? So when you start trying to compare yourself to others, it never works out. There's always going to be better. The grass is always going to look greener. But you know what? You just got to put your head down and go. And don't compare yourself to others. This is your journey, man. It's you versus you. This is your life.
And make your own thing, man. Don't try to copycat what somebody else is doing too, I think. Right. Make it your own.
Yeah, if you see something you like, find a way to put that into your own.
I'm not saying it's not good to have mentors, man. I totally believe in that. But yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. I think everything that you just said in the last 2 minutes right there is perfect, man. So what's next for Dustin? What do you got coming up? I know that you have goals. We know that you just got your UFC contract.
Yeah.
Like
I said, man, the big thing that stuck out to me is find daily results. You know, every day, continue to get better in the gym. Continue to sacrifice, and that's in what I'm eating, my running.
I could do a little bit more of that, I'm sure.
Right? Well, and it's you got to choose your hard. You got to choose your struggle. I mean, Going to the gym every day is hard, but being out of shape and not feeling good about yourself is hard too.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to choose your heart. So right now I'm just trying to find daily results. I'm trying to get better because I know a call is right around the corner. When you ask what's next, I'm hoping, end of February, maybe beginning of March if it has to be. I'm really hoping into February. But yeah, that's another great thing I love about my career and what I do is I've always wanted to be the best, and I have nightmares at night. I'd really legit have nightmares at night of a fight coming and not being ready, or something coming, a competition and not being ready. So right now, I just want to, again, I'll say it again, find daily results, make sure I'm ready for when that opportunity comes because I know it's coming. And, I always say a good quote of mine is, or a little, motto of mine is eyes on the prize. If I can have a date, if I can have something that I can see and I can visualize, it's 6-8 weeks away and I work towards that goal every single day. I work towards that challenge. I'm gonna conquer it, man. I'm gonna hit it out of the park, and that's what I expect to do. That's what I train to do. That's what with how I live each day, each minute, man. So that's where right now I really need to. I'm really hoping I get some fight news so I can,
let us know. We'll help spread the word too. So,
totally,
I'm sure it's
man.
gonna catch like wildfire.
Yeah,
for sure. What do you have anything outside of the UFC that you're working on, other than hunting and golfing and your pro golf career, right? What's next?
All the fun hobbies. So I've actually last year, which was a really cruddy year to start doing this, but I started working for a company, Accurate Contracting. It's a roofing company, and we fix hail damage, and we do hail damage restoration. And there wasn't any hailstorms last year, really. So
surprising,
right? Yeah, exactly. Right. There should have been a big shit storm. Yeah. Why wasn't there? So I started doing that. I have a little, and that once it picks back up, we get a storm. Our company's every client that we've had so far has been extremely happy, which is nice to see. But that's a little something I do on the side to keep me busy as far as work wise goes. But I also have a little documentary in the underway. I have a buddy of mine that's kind of the legend of the Hanyak, which is my fight nickname, the Hanyak, which is a rebel without a cause, an aggressive athlete, and also a Polish soldier and street slang for meth. I always throw that in there. That's what the definition, man. If you look up the definition, that's what it is.
With all my drug experience, you'd think I would know that.
But what goes deeper, how I got that is my grandma, my late grandma who just passed away November 8th of 2020, would always call my brother and I little Hanyaks. She's a German family, and apparently it's a German saying, but I've come to find out since I've moved back to Colorado and I meet all these different people and I meet people from eastern Colorado, they all know about the Hanyak. They all know, like they've heard the term the Hanyak before.
I've heard it before too. I just
have you? And it's
I thought it was
just
like a redneck thing though.
Well, it's basically just like you're raising hell. You're being a little Hanyak. Would you guys quit being little Hanyaks? So my grandma always called us.
Sure.
But yeah, if you look it up, it's an aggressive athlete. I love that. It's just a Hanyak. It's a rambunctious guy that needs to chill out, right? But when I'm in the ring, when I'm in the octagon, the Hanyak has to come out. Right. And how that fight nickname came about was, obviously my grandma would always call us little Hanyaks, but I'm sitting there for my first ever kickboxing tournament with Glory. It was the Road to Glory All-American tournament, 3 fights, one night, winner got $20K. And this was a Wednesday night. I just got done training. Brian Foster, my buddy I was talking about earlier, gives me a call. He's like, hey, man, you want to fight in a kickboxing tournament on Saturday? I'm like, on Saturday? He's like, dude, the weight's at 209. You don't have to cut any weight. Winner gets $20K, and they'll give you, I think they gave me like $2,000 to show up. I was like, well, shit. And I was training for an MMA fight like 5 or 6 weeks out. I'm like, screw it, man. Sign me up. I'll hop in my car tomorrow morning. I'll be there. So this was Wednesday night. Called a couple buddies. We got in my car. Thursday morning, drove 7 hours to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I weighed in, had no idea who the other competitors were. Anyway, I'm sitting back there for my first fight, and the guy's like, do you have a fight nickname? I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm getting my hands wrapped, and he's walking. He's like, okay. He's walking away, and I was like, hey, man. I was like, hold on. I was like, tonight I do. I was like, call me the Hanyak. Tonight I'm going to be the Hanyak. And I go in there and I knock everybody out. I win 3 fights. I win the 20K. It's this whole big deal. And
That's awesome.
and from that moment on, man, I've always been the Hanyak. And I, even prior to that, I had a good buddy of mine, stood in my wedding, has followed every fight in my career. He calls me. He always hits me up with advice and who I should fight. He thinks I should fight. And I mean, he's a very intelligent guy. Knows does his research. He's like, dude, I think you should be. He's like, I got the perfect nickname for you. He's like, you should be the Hanyak. And I'm like, what? I was like, where have you? And this guy's from Illinois. I was like, where have you ever heard of the Hanyak? And so he starts telling me. I'm like, dude, that's what my grandma used to call me, the Hanyak. I was like, I'm being the Hanyak. I was like, the Hanyak. That's who I'm gonna be.
Hell yeah.
So that's how the Hanyak came about, man.
And when's this? So you're filming the documentary now, right?
Yeah.
And does it follow you through training and just leading up into?
Yeah, Jordan's actually going to help with it as well.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
Shout out to Jordan Kurtz.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan Kurtz and comments from the Peanut Gallery. He's been a great addition, an awesome guy.
I had no idea when I had him in here what I was getting into, man, and it was awesome, man. We had the best episode,
cool.
dude. It just went on for hours, man.
Hell yeah.
It was a good time.
Oh,
man.
I bet, man.
Yeah, I had a good
he's
time
a good
with
dude.
that Jordan.
Yeah, right on. And so he's gonna help get some stuff in, and yeah, dude, my buddy's putting it together, so I don't know where he's trying to go with this, but
Sure.
but he thinks just my story in general is one of those of perseverance, of never giving up, continuing to go even when things aren't going your way and things don't work out, and so hopefully it's a hit, and we'll have to keep you tuned,
awesome,
man.
man.
Maybe this
know.
right here will be a part of it. I mean, we'll take clips from this. I'm certain of it that it probably will. So
Sure. Well, come back before it releases too, and we'll do another one of these or something, man. It's been
Totally.
fun.
Would love to.
We're at an hour and a half right now.
Right
man.
on, man.
So I know you got to get back to training, and we got to get rolling here. But yeah, man, I really appreciate your time. Before I let you go, though, can we take a few minutes and just let's drop if you have a website, Twitter, Instagram, all those sort of things, so people can figure out where to find you.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at the Hanyak DJ. I believe that is.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, it's real easy at the Hanyak DJ.
That's an awesome photo too, by the
dude.
way,
I
man.
took
That's
that photo.
Can we use that for the cover of this podcast?
Yeah, hell yeah. I can text you the photo too if you need to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, yeah, it's a photo. It was actually taken. I can't remember if that was before or after I won the fight. I think that was after I won the fight. Do I have the gloves on? Are my gloves on? Or
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe it was before. Hell, I don't remember. But it was out there when I was in Vegas at one of the photo shoots, and I am a proud American, man. I and it's kind of cool that when I fought overseas, that's when it really hit me is. And I major respect to the military, our military, and the men and women that serve our country. I'm a proud American, and I'm very thankful for them. So by no means I want to say I'm fighting for my country, but it put it in perspective. Yeah, I love the flag back there. When I would go into another country and I would fight from America, man. I mean, I weighed in American shorts, like I was the American. And Glory, it's a bunch of international guys.
Yeah.
So I represent. They were looking for an American to step up and be the face of American kickboxing. And
that's why I was cheering for you in it a lot.
Yeah,
too,
bro,
man.
I appreciate it, man. And I think I did that,
Yeah, no, you
I
represented
did do that.
it well,
I represented
man.
it.
Yeah.
So, so that's that photo. Pretty badass photo, man. I
That's
love
awesome.
It. Yeah, it's one of my go-tos.
Cool.
But
We'll use it for the cover.
Okay, cool. Yeah, at the Hanyak DJ. My Facebook account, it's more. I'm trying to start weeding it out. It's more.
It's kind of old
personal.
school.
It's so old school, dude. When I had Facebook. My class, when I went to college, we were the first group that Facebook had just started, 2006. Well, it was actually a little bit before that. But before it started, when you first had Facebook, you had to have a college ID. You had to have a college email.
Okay.
When you first, I
didn't know about that.
Yeah, you signed up. You had to have a college email address when it first came out, and then within a couple years, you know how it is, man. It just started. Everything was changing daily,
right.
and then everybody could have Facebook, and
now your grandma's got Facebook, my grandpa's got it.
Totally,
It's
man.
it's
yeah,
crazy,
so now and that's where we're going back. It gives everybody a platform, you know. So, I'm trying to weed out Facebook a little bit, get it to a little more personal, family and friends, people that I actually know and talk to and care about. And I care about a lot. You know, I don't mean it like that, but more.
There's a lot of bullshit in there, and that's one of the reasons why we pay attention to Instagram a lot, because there's not a whole lot you can put on there. A lot of it's photos, which I love photos. I'm big into photography and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a better fit for us. And I'm sorry to our listeners out there if we don't keep up with our Facebook very well, but maybe someday we will.
and you know, early on, heck, when I first got signed to the UFC, it was like I was accepting every friend request. It was kind of like my fan, which I wish would have been a fan page, you know. But now it's like you get on there and there's just people bitching and complaining about stuff,
and they can write
know this guy
3 long page paragraphs of just bullshit.
And I don't even know who you are. So why am I getting worked up, or why am I even looking at that? Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, then Twitter, that's more. I don't know. That's where I get a little more political, and I've never been a political guy. But I just never understood the importance of it all until recently, and the whole Epstein thing, and just how disgusting the people at the top of this country and the elites are, and how
on both sides,
everywhere. Both sides for sure. It's all. Oh, dude, it's just gross, man. And then you got the whole Pizzagate thing, and nobody's talking about that. And there, 460,000 kids in this country that are just missing.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other podcast, right? Now we're getting ready to find me. Where do you find me? And I'm going. But anyway, so, and then I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Revivid Sport, CBD, which is the best CBD, in my opinion, in the business. I think
we got Pure Spectrum here, though, as ours.
Oh, okay.
But no worries, man. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, and I know people that take the Pure Spectrum. I'm just saying from the stuff that I've tried, I love the Revivid stuff.
Cool.
I've wanted to get on with those guys for a while, so I was very thankful for them to give me that opportunity.
Hell yeah.
My management team at Iridium Sports Agency, those guys are the best in the business. I mean, they're killing it right now. It goes back to the surround yourself with good people, right? So, very fortunate to have met them, and our gym at Factory X, Landau Performance, where all of us do strength and conditioning, has elevated my game beyond measures, and so thankful for them. So. That's where you can find me, man. I'm very laid back, down to earth guy. If you want to shoot,
you were easy to contact.
Yeah,
easy to. I mean, I think I contacted you on Monday, and I was like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "How's Wednesday?"
Right? Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Here we are. So
Heck
perfect.
Dude, and I'm
man.
glad you reached out.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate your time, and I know you got to get back at it, and we'll be rooting for you, man. So. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and
I appreciate
excited
it,
to have you on, and we want to have you back too. And you reminded me I got to reach out to Mark, man. So
okay.
Mark, I'm gonna call your ass.
There you
Get
go,
ready.
Hey, Coach. I said some good things about you, so take it easy on me, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Anna, are you good back there?
We are all good in the
we
back,
left
Bobby.
poor Anna in the dark this whole episode.
I know, right?
No, you guys didn't need my help.
Time.
It just means I pushed the right buttons at the right time. We
There,
did great.
You did.
Anna, thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Dustin, thank you again, man, and have a good one.
My pleasure, man.